Hello, and welcome to my yoga class. I hope you enjoy. Now we're going to be working on a few things. We are going to be working on the back, the legs, and the neck. So, let's close our eyes. And start to roll our shoulders a bit. Nice and tall. And let's start to move them one by one. Now, let's start to move our neck. Now make sure you don't hear any popping in the neck or cracking. Slow, nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Now let's reverse the direction. Now let's nod the head yes. And no. Now let's come to center. Let's raise our hands up and twist to the left side. I mean right. Now let's turn to the right. I mean left. Now let's go to the other side again. Now let's go to the other side. We'll do two more to get a nice good stretch. Try to keep those knees down, not pull it up. And one more. Now let's come to center. One more. Now let's come to center finally. Okay, let's roll our shoulders again. So let's start with one by one. Now, let's go in circles with your half part of your body, with the upper half. Now let's reverse the direction. Now let's go the first direction. And now let's do one more. Switching the direction again for our last time. Now let's come to center. And let's stand up from our seated position. Now let's go into our strong mountain pose. Bring the arms up and swan dive. Touch your toes if you can. Make sure your toes are both facing forward. Make sure they're lined up. If you have designs on your mat, you can try to match them up. Make sure. Now, if you have tight hamstrings, it's okay if you bend your knees a little. So that's totally fine. Now let's reverse our swan dive and come up to a back bend. Now let's go back into our swan dive. Half lift. Back down. Make sure not to lock your knees. Do micro bend, but you can do gorilla hands if you want. Now let's reverse our swan dive. And come into our tree pose. Try to make one focal point. Trying not to wobble. Keep your head up tall. Oh, and never put your foot on your knee. It's not good for you. So, you can try to get it above your knee, up here, or below your knee. But never lock your knee. Now, let's grow our branches out. And if you want a bigger challenge, you can try to close your eyes and sway. Now, let's go to the other side. Let's do the same thing. Not locking our knee. Keeping our head up tall. Now again, if you want a challenge, just close your eyes and try to sway. Keep one focal point and breathe. Let's grow branches out to a tall tree. But if you don't want to close your eyes, you don't have to. Now let's come to center. And now let's just take 10 deep breaths in our strong mountain pose. Grounding our feet to the earth. Making sure our toes are pointing forwards. Facing forwards. And in your head, you can count to 10. And if you're done with your 10, you will come down and you will go into plank. Let's go down into plank. Now let's bring our knees to the floor. Come into tabletop. Let's do some cat and cows. Now for cat, you're gonna tuck your toes. For cow, you're gonna, tuck them. And then for cat, you're just gonna let them go flat. Now we're going to do 4 more of these. Count in your head. And if you're done with your 4, you're going to bring your right foot forward. Come into Warrior 1. Bending that knee. Let's try not to lock the back one though. Now again, keeping the toes faced forward. Keeping those fingers wide, holding the head up tall, and breathe. In through the nose, out through the nose. Now let's go into Warrior 2. Almost like a surfer. Now locking that back knee, bending the front. And let's switch sides on Warrior 2. Now let's quickly change into Warrior 1 on this side. Now let's come to center into our mountain pose. Bring our hands up, back bend, and swan dive. Now if you want, you can do your gorilla hands. Feels good on you? Now let's come up to half lift. Make sure you're not rounding the back like this or curving the back like that. Make sure it's flat like this. Now let's go back down. First swan dive. Now let's come to laying down. Now I will have a poem. In the darkest days, when it seems so cloudy and it's fogging up your mind so you can't think, Go outside and look up. The beauty within the rain and the clouds is magical. Because people sometimes do not notice the beauty in the sun, in the clouds. You can play or meditate. Now, hug your knees to your chest. And rock side to side. Then roll over onto your favorite side. Come up to sit in an easy position. Now let's bring our hands up into center. Now let's do 3 breaths, and on the third we'll do an Om. Om. Let your mind body guide you. Thank you for being with us. Peace be with you. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed this class. Bye bye. I hope to see you next time.